Greetings everyone, this is TimeRider with a little Sunday special edition. Actually, it was supposed to be a Saturday special edition, but I had some problems with this casting, so it turned into a Sunday special edition. What you're looking at is a Hot Wheels Heavyweight, a futuristic redline truck made in 1970 and 1971. They use 3 different bodies with plastic attachments that are generally missing, mine being no exception. I can tell you that this was a tow truck, an ambulance, a scooper, or a snorkel based on the casting design. All I can tell you for certain is that it is green. And when I am done, it will not be a tow truck, an ambulance, a snorkel, or a scooper. So stick around. The casting was, it was broken. It had a couple of cracks in the windshield, and clearly there was something wrong with the suspension. First things first, though, let's get the doggone thing apart and see what we're left with here, huh? So 1/16 inch drill bit. I don't know what size that is. I just usually match up the size of the spun post with the drill bit and try to make it pretty close. And there's a problem with the suspension, clearly. Fortunately, though, the capped axles are still kind of embedded in the plastic, so this is certainly something that I can work with. Like I said, the glass was cracked in a couple places, kind of dirty. I actually ordered a new piece of glass off the internet, so I wasn't planning on using that. And we need the primordial ooze. Shake for luck. Now this is the piece that I ordered on the internet to put on the back of this. It was called a short moving van or something along that lines. But it was 3D printed, so the sides of it were not smooth. They were like ribbed. You can kind of see there. So I filed and then I sanded. And this is actually a pretty coarse sanding block. The material that they made this out of was actually pretty hard. But, you work at it enough, and, my idea, of course, was to get it smooth. So the casting itself was really, really thin, so there wasn't a whole lot of surface area, but I think that this had probably been stepped on. The top was a little bit bent. Of course, you had the cracked glass and the broken suspension, so yeah, if I had to take a guess, that would probably be my guess as to what happened. So a little bit of steel wool, and then work a little bit with some filing to hopefully try to smooth this out a little bit. It's like that one corner was sort of bent down. But you work at it enough and you get it pretty good. You know me, I like to try stuff on. And more sanding on that little back piece. So to fix this, I was going to super glue it together for one, but obviously that wouldn't give it the kind of strength that it needed. So I took a piece of styrene and, cut it to match the size of the suspension piece. And have to drill a couple of holes. I coated this thing with super glue. And then I wanted to make sure that it stuck really well, so I took some of those alligator clips and clipped the whole thing together while the super glue cured. This was coming along real nice, but we can't forget that this is one of those castings where the chassis actually is included as a part of the body. I'm trying to get her polished up and ready for some Spectraflame paint. Now, in the original, this base was just silver. It was just unfinished. But for the purposes of the project that I'm doing, I'm going to finish it. And that means that I need to polish it. Start to take some shape here. And then once the super glue had cured, I don't know how, it was a couple of days, I'm sure. Drill that hole out. One of the holes is for that kind of a retaining spike. I don't know what else you can call it, that they stamp to hold this thing in. And then the other hole is where the post from the top part of the chassis went through the bottom part of the chassis. So eventually I'm going to need both holes, but right now I'm just trying to get the holes big enough so that that suspension piece will lay flat. I thought that the bottom wouldn't clean. It wasn't cleaning up very well, so I thought, well, maybe what I need to do is cook it a little bit in some crud cutter. See if I can't get all the little bits of that chalky corrosion off of it. Now this is my resin that I use. You can get it on Amazon. I need to hold this thing while I'm painting it. That's the bottom. It's going to be mated up to the top of the toy, so I really am not all that concerned about it. But the nice thing about this resin is this thing will just break off when I'm ready to take it off. And I love using the resin for this kind of stuff because, I mean, with that UV flashlight, it cures in about 15 seconds. I don't have to have any activator and deal with super glues and whatnot. Once I got done with that chassis and the crud cutter, you can see that almost immediately you can see the difference, how much better it cleans up. The interior was kind of a brown, but for the project I'm doing, I'm going to have to paint it. And so I'm going to clean it up really good here. And then now I'm ready to paint these pieces. I started with some primer, and you can see that I still have a couple of grooves in the side of that box. I actually wound up priming it twice. I filled that in with spot putty and then reprimed it. Sanded it and reprimed it. And now I'm going to polish this bottom piece. I'm going to paint this in the final project. So I want it to be really, really mirror-like. This is just Mother's metal polish with my Dremel and a polishing bit. You can see it's starting to come out real nice. As always, when I get everything kind of to the polish I want, this is a lacquer thinner. I actually have a brush I use as well, but I was just wiping off with a paper towel here, getting a lot of the surface stuff off. So then there was the repaired and reprimed. And that's actually silver paint, because I'm going to spectra flame this as well, but I didn't want it to be necessarily metal flake. Some new capped wheels from Bright Vision on eBay. And then I sourced out this glass, and after I got it, I realized that it wasn't the right glass for this particular heavyweight. You know, I remember that, there is 3 different bodies of heavyweight, and this must have been for one of the other ones, because it certainly wasn't going to fit on this. I wasn't going to wait around to try to find another piece of glass, so I was kind of married to the idea of just using this original piece of glass. You can see how much wider it is right there. And then to that end, I'm going to have to clean this up. I don't know that there's anything I can do about the cracks. I'm just going to have to live with them. I really wanted to get this project done. I'd been working on it for like a week. And I don't want to wait around to try to get another piece of glass. And then this happened. See, and maybe I should have just left well enough alone. But I wanted to straighten that. You can see it's twisted, it's bent. But it broke. Kind of throwing me back to the drawing board. I'll kind of pop back to the beginning here, and I do have a ton of footage of me painting this. And I debated whether to put it on here or not, because I kind of thought that the end result was going to be a little bit of a surprise. At least that's what I wanted. And if I show you me painting it and doing other things to it, it might ruin the surprise. So to that end, I'm going to take this busted up old green thing, and let's take a look where we wound up. Let me introduce you to the wee little virus mobile quarantine unit. The back is painted in Spectraflame yellow. The body is painted in Spectraflame antifreeze, and the bottom is painted in Spectraflame apple lime with just a touch of olive in it. The window, I painted the inside, because it was blue, I painted the inside with Tamiya yellow. And I went a little heavy. It's the first time I ever did that. And then there was like a mold spot in the middle of the roof, so I painted the top of the roof with Spectraflame vinyl top paint. There will be an episode of The Bench following the video, so stick around if you like that kind of thing. Thumb up, thumb down, doesn't matter to me. Leave a comment, please be respectful. This is TimeRider. I'll leave the light on for you. Hey, thanks for hanging around for this edition of The Bench. You know, I got a lot of things going on my bench right now, but I really liked doing those Redline reissues. And to that end, I actually went on eBay and bought a couple more, including this 1968 Barracuda, which is the next re-release that I'm going to start. Moving forward, too, with some other projects, I have this, it's an IROC, a Hot Wheels IROC that was originally a True Value IROC, and it's all stripped and I'm polishing it and getting it ready for some Spectraflame. I also told everybody how much I hated fender skirts, so while working on this 1964 Impala, which I don't have to have done until the end of May, I figured I'd get rid of these fender skirts. That's about all I got for you on this Sunday. I hope everybody is having a great day, had a good weekend, find themselves healthy, and this is TimeRider, and I'll see you at the next video.